Hello, everybody, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in this lovely world on your own screen. Yes, you have chosen the right place, not only your own screen, but our show. And we are very happy to welcome a long time no show in our show, Sri Sabesan. Sri was with us in our early days, and we had him for another show, and now it was overdue to have him back again. So we're happy to welcome back him to our show as the CEO of Ifanti. Sri is a seasoned technology leader with over 30 years of experience in the software industry, including senior roles at SAP and other global organizations. As the visionary behind Ifanti, he's driving innovation in conversational engagement and business process automation through AI, machine learning, and unified communication solutions. Sri is passionate as well about transforming customer engagement and productivity, and he's recognized through a thought leader and mentor in the tech space. We're excited to dive into his insights on the future of digital interaction and customer experience. And I'm grateful to have you here again and to learn about you have been a certain time of your as engagement and activities in SAP at the same place probably and in the same time span as Thomas. Yeah. And as Bob Stutz would say, a lot of good CRM solutions are still coming from the depths of what he co-created in Siebel. So there you have been as well. Yeah. So you are for that time span of over 30 years in that industry, and you are open-minded to help us and our audience, which we invite to chat with us and get into engage and interaction with us through our comment fields in the dedicated channels, as there are Facebook and LinkedIn for your service. So talk with us. And it is a pleasure now to hand over to you. What did I miss in your introduction?
Well, thank you, Rolf, for such a wonderful remarks and very warm welcome here. I really feel that after a very long time we are meeting again. It's great, and you really brought back some of the memories from 30 years, from working with Bob Stutz at Siebel and at SAP and all that. Same thing. The times that we spent, Thomas and I spent, all the years at SAP and later. So it's great memories, bringing that fresh again here, and very glad to be here chatting on this latest technology trends and what we are doing here.
And another story, losing track and meeting in the lounge of an airport.
Yes.
I know this guy.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a Lufthansa Senator Lounge in Frankfurt.
Yeah. So, what are you doing here? What's your excuse?
Yeah, the travel unites people. I always feel that, thanks to SAP to quite some time, I've traveled very extensively around the world for my job. And I am continuing the same tradition personally and also professionally now for my current job and other things. Every time, what fascinates is being in a new country, new place, meeting new people, breathing fresh air. It's very, very fantastic experience. And that also brings, quite a bit of, when we say communication or conversation, underscoring that communication is a, important stuff. When you're especially in a land where you don't understand language, how you can still get things done. It's but it's fascinating.
Yeah, but fascinating is also what you are doing these days, or should I say, full disclosure, we are doing. So I'm not totally out of that scope. this, if it is about conversational commerce, or part of it is about conversational commerce, let's say one of the pivots went into that direction, or
Yes.
goes into that direction. So now everybody and their dog on this planet probably has an own definition of what this is. So when you are saying agentic commerce, what do you mean with this? What's your definition, your personal definition?
So, it's pretty, this question has been asked a lot of times, right? Especially the agentic word. So people ask, what is agentic? So the commerce is one part. Commerce, everybody understands. Commerce, you pay money, you exchange goods or services. That's it, pretty much, right? So what is agentic here? So with when the level of digitalization was maturing, people were using a lot of different technologies to connect with the people, or the customers, or the stakeholders in largely. There are so many different ways that people were engaging, right? So, but the primary thing is conversation. Whatever it is, it's a phone call, email, or chatbots, whatever those medium of or the channel of that engagement, it's all about conversation. And traditionally, people tried a lot of ways, improving chatbots. The chatbots used to be pretty dumb, but then they started bringing some level of smartness, and over the period, even the dumb chatbots became a little bit more intelligent, even though it is rule based, still strict path that has to follow. It at least started delivering something to the businesses. But as a user, the user always had frustrations about, hey, what I have to deal with. It cannot allow me to go left or right. If I say something, it may not understand, and then they leave that conversation mode or the chatbot, and then they pick up the traditional phone and get things done. Right? Over a period, especially with the millennials and the new age the new age population is coming to the mainstream, and there is a lot more demand on the technology, and the AI brought some of the significant changes, which changed the traditional chatbots to a little bit more smarter way of doing things. The conversational or generative AI started understanding the context. It can understand the intent better. So the whole rule based of the exact phrase matching, those things changed. The AI brought a better sense of, okay, hey, this is what you're telling, this is what you're attempting to do. And then, with the added smartness, it started responding to the user queries better. Okay. So just keep that whole smartness and make that, the journey more automated is on a very high level. I would say, it's a kind of agentic, right? So the agents, there's a smart agents that can understand your phrases better, your intents better, and not only in the reactory mode. And it's okay, it understands, but then you can tell the agent or the AI or agent, so go and get this for me. And it can, even if it involves multiple steps to get things done for you, it can break down those steps, it can plan how to execute those steps, and then bring the solution to you as a complete outcome. Is kind of the how the agent behaves going through each step and consolidating and collating and bringing the result to you, is kind of what quote unquote is agentic. So in a commerce world, when we are looking for a product and we are going to, so anybody who wants to do a transaction, you are looking for a product, buying stuff. It's not just only about, show me this, show me that. So once you ask the AI agent or the chat AI chat agent that is deployed, you ask that, hey, I want this, and then it can browse the product for you, it can discover the product for you, it can compare the product details for you, and then it can tell you the budget. If you have already set a budget, this is where I want a shoe for $200, and these three brands that what I look for. The agent can do all that for you, narrow down the results to those three brands that you're looking for, finding the kind of size that you have already mentioned, within the budget. It does all that thing for you and shows you the end result, instead of you step by step tell me, oh, can you go and search for this brand and that brand and that brand, this color and that color. You don't need to prompt every step of the way. You just give all your preferences up front and then tell the agent, hey, I want this, and it executes all these multiple steps and gives you the result. And that pretty much kind of defines as an agentic. So this is kind of increasing the engagement for the brand's perspective. If you look at brands, the why brands prefer such solution, it reduces the friction. It's not somebody says, oh, I want this, I want that, and then they leave the shopping cart and go. So the brands lose the business. With the level of agentic approach, what they can now say, hey, I have implemented this, and then you come and search for your product and you go back with your product that you want, right? That's kind of what the brands want. And also from the consumer perspective, it's a lot easier. They don't need to be struggling and kind of do it yourself, matching and comparing and all that thing. And it comes all fully served on your plate, what you need, and then they can take along. So it serves both worlds, from the buyer point of view and also the seller point of view. It makes that whole interaction a lot easier. And that is why this agentic commerce is really going leap forward right from the inception, when it started introduced to now. It gained the traction because of the simplicity.
So now let's look a little at, you mentioned them, the old style chatbots. So there's quite surely a gray zone between what is quote unquote truly agentic and what's just another dumb bot. So where would you set the boundary?
See, it depends on what you want to achieve as a brand, right? So one of the thing is so what do you want to achieve as a brand? Every brand, whether it is for profit or a non-profit, any brand wants to interact with their stakeholders, customers, owners, whoever that be, and each interaction is either trying to understand and build the relationship better, or so building the relationship is also for some the mutual gain at the end of the day, right? That's kind of how all the businesses are built. So the agentic approach or the AI agent or the technology or not only limited to this AI agent and this, including expanding the communication channels, how what are the different ways how I can connect with, and how we can make the entire communication a lot better, so that mutually one can build the trust and one can build the relationship better to get a long-standing, loyal business relationship, right? That's kind of what everybody is looking for, either a consumer or the brand. And as long as the technology fulfills for that, and any technology that fulfills that is what going to stay around.
You touched already the base of one of my questions out of curiosity. To say so, where is the beef for your customers buying the infrastructure, buying the solution, and where do they generate an extra positive experience and a benefit for their using and buying customers?
So the extra benefit is always, extending the loyalty, right? That's kind of the end of the day it is. And, extending the loyalty is going to be the extra benefit that everybody wants.
Yeah.
Because most times, we finish a transaction and move on, and we don't think back about the same brand. Why will you go back to the same brand or same kind of vendor? Is primarily because you liked the experience that you had there. That's kind of what the driving motivation.
Cool. Thanks for that one.
Yes.
So then If it were that easy, it's about building trust, quote unquote, again. Why only now? I mean, if it's all about automating things, right? Can trust be automated?
No, yes, especially trust cannot be earned, right? That's trust cannot be just given; it has to be earned, right? It's very, it's one you can probably take a lot of other things for granted, but not the trust, right? So you need to earn the trust. That means you need to really make things transparent and easy to work with, and then it takes time for the trust to build. And why this agentic solution now versus before, right? I mean, of course the technology is maturing, right? So one thing is, over the last decade, the AI technology has improved so much that it can understand the dialects. Not only it can understand certain one or two languages, but it can understand multiple dialects. It can understand the context. It can retain the whole the intent and how you emotions, everything. It can able to parse, and it can able to understand. And so it is kind of naturally fitting from establishing that trust point of it, right? So now it can understand your emotions, it can understand your sentiments. That means that as we are trying to automate and get the essence out of the conversation, it can rightly point where one's mind is at, and how the emotions are playing. And then it can create a response based on that. It is not just about the reaction. It can properly create a response for that, right? So that's kind of that is the biggest technology gain that the technology has provided. And more importantly, there is also the growing trend from the new age generation coming to the real commerce and whatever they are doing, and they all want to have things done now. The current expectation of the consumer is not that, okay, I'm going to take so much time to get to some transaction done. They want everything instant. They want to have everything right in the quick moments. And so there need to be a faster way of processing things. Again, the technology today, the way how it has matured over the years, the whole e-commerce, online retail, everything, even those solutions have matured enough. So this level of automation becomes a lot easier through AI. So that's the second thing. And third, I would say, is also economics for the brands, right? So the brands also battling with, say, today's consumer is not only just walking to a store or going to your website. Now the spread of the consumers are pretty much everywhere with the social media explosion. They are on multiple social media channels, and they want to get things done wherever they are. It's that they don't want to even go to, or it's not only that they want to get done wherever they are, but if the given that attention span is so limited, and if the brands are losing the customer from one advertisement or one social posting that they have, if they are not able to convert those consumers right there and make them to buy their product or service, if they are scrolling to the next ad, that means they are already losing their business. So the businesses are having this economic pressure that wherever these consumers are connecting with the brand, they want to have those transactions completed momentarily. And so this technology is in the right time, bridging that gap. So, okay, it is a multi-channel or omni-channel, you can call wherever it is. The buying experience is also, the consumers are expecting it should be the same. Whether you are buying online, you are buying through some marketplace, you're walking into a store, they want to experience the same, the buying experience everywhere. That's kind of why, again, it leads back into the loyalty, leads back into the trust, and that wholeness here, right? So that's kind of the brands are in a tremendous pressure to create that kind of space for people to interact with them. So all these things are coming together now. The technology is maturing, and the consumer are even the technology is great, but if the consumers are not looking for it, nothing is going to happen. So, but today's consumers are looking for that. They want that, and that's kind of what is bringing it all together. Make this agent is or the agentic approach is becoming a mainstream for all the commerce is because of that.
Does it also require a change in thinking to go agentic?
Not just about thinking, right? So they have to, there is a lot of things need to come together well. So in the recent some customer engagements, I can quote a couple of the two different things here, right? So one, there is this huge brand, very big brand company. They recently launched a agentic solution. And they said, hey, our agentic solution is so great. And then they referred another big brand in a consumer product space and say, go to this brand website, our agent is all running, and go and experience it there. So we went to that website and we looked at it. So the web page loaded, nice, very rich user experience there. It displayed a lot of different products right there in the landing page of the product. Showed some discounted products offering for Thanksgiving or whatever it is, right? And then this agent pops up, and simply we ask question, hey, what are your new promotions for Thanksgiving? The agent responses saying, oh no, we don't have any special scheme available. So right there is a disconnect, right? Just the window, I can see they are flashing, Thanksgiving sale with a high level of promotion they want to show, and the agent they have deployed right there, it's not even aware of what is just in the background. So that's it, right? So that basically kills
Thanksgiving.
Right. So that is one experience. The other experience we had was, we were kind of implementing an agentic solution for a hotel, and we were trying to get their booking agent design. And like we were trying, the basic principle of any such agent is the experience is same across all the different channels, right? So it's kind of so when you say the experience need to be across, same across all the channels, there is going to be some give and take, because some channels are richer in the user interaction, some are not, and so there is going to be some middle ground how we are trying to implement or whatnot. And this customer, they were insisting very much like how the interface was 10 years ago with the whole chatbot, and that exactly that the same way that they want this agentic behavior also, right? So we were trying to educate them, hey, this is kind of a different way of looking at it, and what you had that user experience before was very different. It was more restrictive, but still they just want that, right? So these are the kind of mindsets, like where it makes it difficult to really meet the ends in the right way, right? So that is the kind of a bigger gap in terms of adapting to the solution. That is one part of it. The mindset is one part. That's what I say. The mindset is one. And also, to as much the overall the entire tech stack had improved or matured, and still there are a lot of gaps in the way how the brands or the companies have implemented those solutions, and how they have actually opened up or not, or restrictive about some of their how their product are stacking up. And so there are a lot of difficulties in stitching that together to make this kind of experience better. So there is a lot more of those hurdles that, especially in the largely the technology has improved, a lot of things that can be done. From the adoption perspective, it is still a kind of, in a still early stage for several brands, still in a kind of pilot mode, trying out this and that, mainly because they need to understand their individual situation, their gaps, or what are the other things that they have to improve before they can get onto this journey.
So now, what you said is the objective, the ultimate objective is for the customer to have an experience, a consistent experience.
Right.
Now, the truth is that the agent, the bot, doesn't work for the customer. It does work for the vendor, which causes kind of a dilemma, right? Also in sorts of building trust, for example. So how to overcome this dilemma?
All right. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Right. So there are a lot of different perspectives about these agents and what it is. So let's assume, let's kind of just for the discussion, let's use it this way, right? Agents are pretty much like the AI agent, or however you phrase it, agent, agentic, whatever. End of the day, AI agent, this technology is pretty much like, assume it's being like a human. When you are hiring an employee to your business, you want the employee to be loyal to the business and do what the business wants. Of course, as an employee, we need to interface with the customer or consumer politely, nicely, friendly, whatever the way how we need to treat them, and ethically. All those the basic characteristics need to be there, but we need to get the business done. So that's the objective as an employee. And so similarly, when we talk about the agents, like when you're talking about, I would probably categorize that into 3 buckets. One is the AI agents, or agents that are deployed by the brands. So if the agents are deployed by the brands, of course the brands are, so the motivation of that agent is going to make sure, so how to bring the whole experience better for the consumer, but at the end of the day, they are able to get the transaction done for that brand. Right. So the other bucket I would say is the marketplaces. So there are a lot of different marketplaces. They are deploying agents. They are allowing multiple businesses to take advantage of these agents. And so there is a different approach for the marketplace, how the marketplace agents behave. Right. So that's a kind of different approach. The consumer level agents, first of all, there is no such real consumer level agents exist today. There are some experimental such agents are available in certain products like ChatGPT or Plötzlich, or some of them they are talking about how the consumer grade agents can work, but still it is not the reality, right? But when even when it comes to reality, it is going to have some, so as a consumer, I'm going to define my boundaries, what I'm going to achieve, what I want to treat, and basically I'm employing a buyer agent for me. So if such consumer agents exist, I am going to hire them to work for me. So that those agents are expected to work with my requirements, and it is going to get my results for me, right? So each agent, it depends on who is hiring them. If they are going to do that role play, that's pretty much how it is. It's not that this agent is working for them or against them. It is about how it is about the objectives given to that agent and by their quote unquote employers, we can say. So we need to start employing the agents, whether as a personal consumer I'm employing somebody, or the agents are deployed by the brands, then it has to work for them.
So now we are back to the trust and the thinking thing,
Yes.
or topic, because an obvious, maybe only possible solution to that dilemma would also be employing an outside-in thinking from a business side. Thinking that, or starting from the thought that my success is not an additional customer, but my success is a consequence of making this customer successful. Because in that sense, I as a business make my objectives, well, I still make my objectives real by having more revenue, but by not treating the additional revenue as the objective, but as a consequence, which is a vastly different thinking.
Yeah, right. Again, that's why I kind of referred, deploying an agent is pretty much like, hiring a human employee. Pretty much both are the same, because what we are telling now is the agents can pretty much think like a human, understand the context, understand the emotions, and it can create a plan how to execute and serve to the consumer, right? So it can do all that like a human employee. That's what, even if you are walking into a store, you are asking a sales agent there, the salesperson there, you are trusting that agent because you're face to face, you are looking at it, you are seeing eye to eye, you are able to share that experience and understand them. Hey, okay, this person is going to be, helping me, and we are getting the transaction done with that, right? So it's pretty much like, the whole objective of even the agent is deployed by the brand. They want to make sure that you as a consumer, the consumers are well served in what they are looking for, and bringing the transparency and bringing that. So the whole designing and implementation is becoming very crucial here, right? So that's kind of how going to make that, okay, if I am comfortable in working on with this agent in an online way. The people are getting that comfort is only when they are interacting, when they are seeing how the interaction is leading them, how flexible, how dynamic, how open that conversation goes. And so, building that conversational flow in such a realistic way is very, very important. In fact, one of our customers, recently they deployed our solution, and then, after a couple of weeks, they sent us a note saying, "Hey, many of our customers are thinking they are chatting with a real human being in the back end." And that gave them that assurance. Okay, hey, whatever they are conversing, they are talking with the back end as like a human, and so they are comfortable. They started, generating more orders for them. So that is the kind of, you need to bring that experience to match with your customers. And so the today such things are possible with the generative AI, the level of technology that is available, the way how you are interacting, how you are setting up the interaction. You can personalize it very, very quickly, based on how you are interacting. The generative AI can match up to your interaction, and it can bring the level of intelligence, and also not only on the subject matter, but also how it communicates. It can be empathetic, it can be very realistic to what your kind of emotions that you are sharing. It can be, match the same thing. And that's kind of how you build the trust, and that is how you build that whole experience. That is very important. It's not just about, oh, I am now taking a AI and latching it on my website, and it's going to be all great. No, it's not going to be like that. Every conversation, how you want to craft it, how you want to have that engagement, it has to be crafted. It has to be bundled in a proper way. So there are a lot of different ways how we prompt the conversation to happen from the agent side while we are implementing this. And we also bring the level of branding, pretty much, right? So every brand approaches the customer in a slightly different way. They have their own way of handling things. So we allow such kind of branding happens, so that the communication is also natural from that point of view. So people know, hey, I'm interacting with this brand in this versus. So it is not robotic, right? So it's not between, if you go between one website to other website to other website, if everything sounds robotic, then there is no experience that you are building. So you need to start giving that kind of a differentiation as well. So these are all the nuances that one has to take into account when they are kind of giving this kind of it's very, very key is, how do we make this whole conversational experience like a human.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then you would probably be on my side of the table when we come to that it can also create empathy and be to a certain extent empathetic, where I normally do not accept that a system is able to create empathy or create a feeling of experience and empathy on the system side. So,
So you are changing the side of the tables, Ralph?
yeah, I'm jumping just for this special event on the other side, just jumping over the table because I'm curious. You made a statement and that there is this typical emotional feeling that one can create.
Yeah, so again, so the technology now, really allowing these, we are able to capture that, and still
Yeah.
it is not going to replace, the emotions that one can see face to face. That is
Okay.
all, and those things are going to, so but if you are talking over phone,
Yeah.
and the other side of the person, you are able to maybe sense something. they may not they may not say in exact words, but
Yeah.
the way the tone changes,
Yeah.
you may be able to understand. So some of those physical things may not be possible still in this
Yeah.
technology yet, but whatever is conveyed, it is able to understand, right? So unlike that's kind of, so unlike the previous generations of chatbots or even the smart uh, chats or agent the other agent assisted things that are there, whatever those are, it may not understand certain specific words in the true meaning. And so now the technology has improved so much. In fact, we have had situations where somebody was even commenting, "Hey, are you AI? Am I talking with AI?" And then AI responds in a very natural way. Yes, you are you're talking to AI, but if you want, I can transfer to the human, right? So is basically even understanding that is, and responding politely to that is very, very important aspect. And that's kind of what we can achieve those level of interactions today, where the technology at least enabling so those things to be more natural now.
Normally we tease each other on that topic, and Thomas is then going for the duck example.
And the duck
That would have now be your step forward, Thomas.
Meanwhile, you know it yourself. Empathy is something that is perceived, not sent. Well, it may be sent, but it's first of all perceived. So, and if it appears to be like a duck, looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it probably is one. So that's what my side of the table usually is. But you mentioned the people are asking, am I talking with an AI now? So that to some extent touches an ethical question as well. Shouldn't they know beforehand?
No, so yes, of course, right? So most conversational agents that are deployed today, it introduces themselves as, "Hey, you are talking to an agent." But still, when people get deeper into the conversation, and when, especially as I was telling, nowadays even though it is a conversational agent running the conversation from behind the scenes, the conversation is so natural that they get drawn as if they are talking to a human. So they are kind of reconfirming, "Hey, are you an agent or a human being?" Right? That's kind of so they are drawn into that natural conversation. That is the best side of it. And of course, so any technology, however you are implementing, whether it is AI or non-AI or whatever, the ethical frame is a very important thing for for anything for that matter. So here the disclosure is there, and and also in this case, what I was referring, AI properly responded saying, yes, you're talking to AI. It did not shield that, no, you're now talking to a human. If that had happened, then it is probably the biggest scam. But just the kind of these are all the ways how reinforcing the ethical practices also.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there are a bunch of advantages from a business as well as probably from a customer point of view to deploying and working with and using agents. This suggests that, well, this is a big thing. On the other hand, we don't see that many real life examples out there in the market, at least no quote unquote success stories. So what is the situation out in the market in your experience?
Yeah, that's another good question, right? So the earlier we were talking about, when we are talking about agent, there are you can bucket them into three different buckets, right? So one is the consumer grade, consumer level of agents. One is the brand specific agent, and the marketplace agents.
Yeah.
So you can so even maybe a lot of studies out there that talks about what is the success rate of this agent deployments, and some big analysts like Gartner says by 2027 70% of the AI agent will be shut down. The pilots will not go further. And then there are other readings from Deloitte or some others talking about how successful the AI agent rollouts are going to be and whatnot. So this, you can see this big disparity between even a lot of these studies that are happening. That's why I'm saying, this is a very great question that you asked. So what is the reality here? Yes, the reality, now if you look at it, right? So we already discussed the consumer level of agents are still in primitive state. There is no real success stories to claim. There are one or two proof of concepts how whether that buying experience, the buying agents from ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever those different consumer grade consumer agents are available, those are in a very infancy state. It is not fully tuned. There is so much more to do for such consumer agents to come up and be ready for everybody to start using. In other hand, if you look at the brand's perspective, the brands are deploying the agents or agentic, not only agentic. There is one is that interfacing with the consumer side, but also there is so much more automation, the workflow automation, business process automation can be done on the back end side of the whole thing, right? So a lot of businesses are now already gaining from this kind of deployment. So for example, we have customers who do this whole order replenishments, right? So if they say, okay, they see some certain products are going out of stock soon, and also not only going out of stock soon, they can also assess the demand graph for such product, and then they can nicely set the whole reorder process automation, so that so they can those agents can automatically manage depending on the product, the demand graph in the recent times, and then they can replenish those stocks. So those kind of scenarios, and that is only some quick example, but there are so many more such examples are there, from how back office or back end operations are really taking advantage by deploying this agentic solution. From the front end, is also quite a lot of the brand implemented agents are helping people, like so people come there and say, hey, repeat my order, right? So that's they are able to say that today, repeat my last order. Then the agent picks up what was the last order. They are able to go and process, get the one more confirmation, because it requires, it's all about money. So it gets a confirmation. Is this the product that you're looking for? They say yes. Then it generates the order and all that. It's so fulfilling. So it also eliminates, a lot of this friction from the consumer point of view. They don't need to go create another shopping cart for the same order that they did before and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there are these selective use cases, selective ways how the success stories are built from the brand specific implementations of the AI agents. Similarly, the marketplaces like Amazon Marketplace and some other marketplace, they have brought in the agentic solution, which is really serving to the back office much better. So those things need to be replicated or will come together for the consumer space. That there is a lot more things to come together, especially the payment processing. The Visa, MasterCard, and Google
Yeah.
Pay, so many of them are already coming up with this agentic payment process, the agent to agent and payment authorization. Those things are all already kind of maturing. And so there is quite a bit of things to be done there from the market point of view for the consumer agents to become, mainstream, but it will get there. But in the meantime, there are a lot of success stories from the brands, how they are implementing the AI agent. That is why you see these two different things. One is measuring the consumer side of the stories. The one is measuring the business side or the real brand side of the story. So that's why you see these different stories about success stories, or so many things will go fail or whatever it is. So it is so much, the difference. But if you start measuring what you are looking for from overall adoption of AI agent or agentic solution, it is on the rise.
I love one of the questions Thomas has brought onto the cheat sheet in the way of if you would be a CX consultancy. And you mentioned already a hotel. So if you want to help a retailer or hospitality brand to move into the Agentic Commerce, what roadmap would you recommend, and what would be your first suggestions to do?
Yeah. So whether you are implementing AI or not, so it's all about going back to the basics, right? You just need to assess. Basically, you need to assess what is that, so a lot of companies are, acting like a FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. If somebody is trying to implement things like, fear of missing out, so I want to put some agent thing, and I know that's not going to be the game. So you need to assess. You really need to understand, hey, where am I going to really get benefit? Am I ready for this? How am I going to do this? And what is the best easy way to kind of get things rolled out? So you need to go assess, plan, prepare, and you need to go through those 9 yards and then do a pilot. Don't just jump and put everything into that. Do a pilot, create a success stories, and understand the pitfalls, prepare for that, and then you scale. That's kind of the regular thing, and I don't think nothing can replace those basics. So keep the basics in in the view.
What were then the KPIs that you would look at immediately?
Good one.
KPIs.
KPIs, yeah. What defines success of an agentic implementation?
So, I mean, success of agentic implementation, again, I would classify that into two, three different buckets, right? So if you're implementing an agent success, first of all, you need to make sure the agent performs what it's supposed to be doing, error-free, right? So that is basically, making sure, the agent is doing its job. It's like even when you're hiring a person, you really want to make sure, it's like a normal performance thing that you do with a human person, right? So same way, right? So is it behaving properly? Is it really performing at the right speed and right and error free? And we just need to make sure those are again basics, and also the outcome, right? So then comes the outcome. First is like making sure everything is fine, all the things are done, and then what is the outcome? how it creates that outcome. Am I getting what I envisioned to get by deploying this particular agent? Has it smoothed out my, I wanted to implement this shopping cart agent for doing things through web chat or WhatsApp or whatever? Is it creating me some extra business? Is it doing that? Or, if yes, then how can we scale? That is the other thing, right? So if it is not, then maybe the problem is elsewhere. Is it because how the agent is behaving or something else? So we need to go through those 9 yards. Normally, however you will assess those things. But from the KPI point of view, I would say strongly these two things. One is the agent profile itself, as it is it error-free, doing its job and performing well. That is basic characteristic. And the second is, am I getting the right outcome by doing that? Whatever those outcomes that we originally set up, are we getting that? Those are the basic two things. And then you can extend it for other things. Okay, if I want to do this, what is the what is the real revenue that I'm or the cost benefits I'm getting, and some of those other things that can extend it. But I think we need to start from here.
Okay. And you also already mentioned that there are a bunch of use cases that you deployed and that you see deployed. In which of them would you start? Which are the highest value ones that you see in a retail or in a commerce environment, basically?
Yeah, again, this is again another topic. I would say we need to go to basic, back to basic kind of thing. There are multiple touch points here, right? So you can start from helping customers to discover product, go through the kind of sales topics, and then you can establish the support, and then you can go to the customer satisfaction, and so there is whatever that you are. So the customer engagement is pretty much an infinite loop, right? The loop can start from anywhere. The touch points can start from anywhere. So there is no defined way. Here is what the loop starts. There is nothing. When it is an infinite loop, the loop can start from anywhere.
At least formulated like a Möbius band, and not this lying aid which everybody else uses.
Yeah. So either infinite loop, or some people call it as a circle, infinite circle, whichever way it is, right? So there is for the circle or infinite loop, there is no starting point. It's going to be, you can start from anywhere. So what does it mean? Is basically you need to again define what is my immediate pain point. And for my immediate pain point, how will I be able to take advantage of this technology? And so, drive the things from there. That's kind of the best way to succeed. Not again start from unrealistic requirements, and then it is only going to add to the pressure and create failure points. Then if you're having a real pain point, you solve that, it is going to create a positive impression, and then you'll be able to build on from there.
Okay, let's turn that around. What would, besides from dreaming up scenarios, what would you recommend your customers to not do? When would you suggest them to stay away of the topic altogether?
Yeah, this topic comes up all the time. So people say, hey, when to say no is very important thing, right? So so especially in current situation, I mentioned this FOMO 5 times or 10 times in this call already. That's because that's kind of what is happening when we are talking to prospects or other not directly even prospects. When we are going through motion, all the emotions outside everywhere, when we are looking into those things, a lot of knee-jerk reactions are happening. I want to have this thing right now. I want to do this kind of thing. Right? That's kind of what is driving factor for most part. And so it gets very tricky how the one looks at the success story here, what needs to be done here. So when I want to really come back again to your question. Sorry, I lost that.
Well, the base question is, when do you under which circumstances do you recommend them to not
Yes.
go the
So,
agentic route at all?
exactly. So because of, so first of all, I would say don't go implementing something with the FOMO. Don't do that just because you are fearing something you want to get done. Otherwise, you'll be lost. Don't do that.
Mhm.
You do so. That is the first and primary thing. And second thing, I would say is whether your business is ready for such things, right? So the
Yeah.
technology transformation, you need to really assess is your basics correct? Are you having the right product stack? So that will help the level of automation that you are trying to need for implementing such agentic process. Because there are circumstances where we got into a project where we realized they do not have enough API credits so to open up for such automation to happen. So you don't want to run into that kind of stumbling blocks once you are getting into the project, right? So you need to basically prepare what you need to do. So beyond all that, I would say another important thing here is also, especially where whether it is a goods or service that you are offering through agentic uh, consumer facing thing, from that matter, stay away from doing such agentic implementation for a very sensitive or emotional products that you want to sell. There are a lot and high value products. You don't want, many times the high value product, people want to touch and feel. They want to have that personal connection before they invest in such a big amount. So bringing such a kind of agentic approach for such things is not going to be much valuable. So these are few things I would say: the FOMO and technology stack readiness, and the level, the kind of product and services that you are trying to offer. Make it, if it is a routine thing, yes, makes sense. But it is a high value or the emotional attachment kind of things, stay away from that.
Okay. Now, got a bunch of additional ones that I'd look at. But then the time's running away.
Oopsie.
That's the other one. So let's go a little fast forward and give you a chance for visionary, famous last words.
Ooh.
Now we are at the onset, almost at the onset of 2026. Looking at the end of 28, or let's say 2030, I'm quite sure that the shopping journeys, online as well as offline, will have changed quite drastically, probably even. I mean, there are still old style technologies like the magic mirror that pop up again, like this metaverse stuff. How do you see this journey or the set of journeys look like in, let's say, 2023, when we have consumer agents, when we have buyer agents, maybe even middleman agents who negotiate, make the agents negotiate with each other, and all sorts of, AR technology, augmented reality, not analyst relations, marketplaces, and all of this intermingled with each other. What is your vision of 2030?
That's a great question, right? See, the technology is growing, especially in the AI related to technology is growing so fast. The AI has already transformed into AGI, right? And then from AGI to it is going into much more refined, super intelligent with the ASI kind of thing. So it's kind of transforming very, very fast. So with such a transformation, the where we will land in 2030 is kind of limitless. It's kind of the go, it can be multiple leaps ahead. uh, but end of the day, whatever that is, if it is not going to be understanding the human being and be kind of emotionally and ethically supporting the human, behaviors and the human beings, it is going to be very, very difficult for any such thing to succeed. So where I will end here is any adoption of that is going to be really matter to every human being for the positive way. And these technology trends, I hope and wish, and it will stay in creating such a positive impressions for the human beings. That's where I will leave, and it will continue being there itself is a bigger thing, especially with all the cyber threats and all the other things that are happening around. My wish is, okay, everything is good, but as long as it is respecting we as individuals, and we are able to retain our individualistic approach and be a human itself is going to be the biggest thing. And I wish 2030 continues to be like that.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Sri. This was again rush hour.
Marvelous, emotional.
Yeah, it was quite fast, as usual, when you're involved. Lots of stuff to digest, and lots of insight, for which we are very grateful. Thanks a lot. And to the audience, and the counter still says we didn't scare them all off.
No.
Next week, we are in another interesting discussion, this time with Suvish Viswanathan from Zoho. And that's a slightly different topic, or very different topic, actually, apart from overlapping in the customer experience arena. But there we are talking again about the impact of industry and industry solutions on CX. Is it worthwhile pursuing? Is it not worthwhile pursuing? And apart from advertisements that Ralph just held into the camera, we probably get some real thought leadership insight from Suvish. Looking forward to that one. So, thanks to everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, and see you next week.
Yo, be with us again.